So let's talk about Ursula. Yeah, the sea witch from The Little Mermaid. Everyone remembers her as the big bad villain, but the truth is, she's way more interesting than that. Today, we're diving into her psychology, why she's manipulative, why she's kind of relatable, and what she reveals about us. And by the end, I promise you'll never look at Ursula the same way again. All right, quick refresher. Before we get into the psychology, Ursula showed up in Disney's The Little Mermaid in 1989, but unlike other villains, queens, kings, stepmothers, she's different. She's an outcast. She doesn't live in the royal palace. She's banished to the dark edges of the ocean. And here's the kicker. In some versions of her lore, she was once connected to Triton's court.
Banished and exiled and practically...
She wasn't just some random sea witch. She had power, influence, and a place until she was cast out. That exile, that humiliation, that's what fuels her. So when Ariel comes along, wanting legs and a new life, Ursula sees her chance, not just to mess with a naive mermaid, but to get even with Triton, the system, the ocean that rejected her.
To Triton's undoing.
Now, this is where it gets psychological. Ursula is basically the embodiment of what Carl Jung called the shadow self. That's the part of us that holds our envy, our ambition, our hunger for power, the traits we usually bury or deny. Ursula, she doesn't bury it, she flaunts it. She takes everything society calls ugly, greed, desire, manipulation, and wears it like a crown. And that's why she's unforgettable. She's not afraid of being what everyone else is too polite to admit. One of Ursula's biggest strengths, manipulation. She doesn't just trick people, she understands them. She finds your desire and turns it into her weapon. With Ariel, she doesn't say, give me your voice because I'm evil. She says, I can give you what you want most. That's emotional intelligence. Dark, twisted emotional intelligence. She reads people, plays on their weaknesses, and sells it with charisma. Honestly, if Ursula went into sales, she'd be Employee of the Year every year.
You belong to me.
No, Ariel!
That's right.
And let's talk about her theatrics. Ursula isn't subtle. She's a performer. The gestures, the booming laugh, the way she fills every frame, it's all part of her strategy. In psychology, we call this the persona, the mask we wear to influence others. Ursula's persona is larger than life. She's funny, dramatic, confident, and it's intimidating. That's what makes her so magnetic. You can't ignore her. Admit it, you remember Ursula more vividly than you remember Ariel sometimes. But here's the key. Ursula isn't just evil for the sake of being evil. She's motivated. She was cast out, overlooked, underestimated. That resentment burns, and in a way it makes her relatable. We've all felt excluded before. We've all had that moment of wanting to prove people wrong. Ursula takes that feeling and cranks it up to 11. Her hunger for power isn't random. It's rooted in rejection, and that's what makes her dangerous, but also layered. Here's the real twist. We kind of like Ursula, not just because she's entertaining, but because she represents things we secretly wish we had. Confidence, charisma, the guts to go after what we want without apologizing. Sure, she's manipulative and selfish, but the core traits, the ambition, the boldness, the ability to own her shadow self, that's why she resonates. She's a villain, yes, but she's also a mirror. So yeah, Ursula might be the villain of The Little Mermaid, but psychologically, she's so much more. She's ambition, manipulation, performance, and resentment rolled into one unforgettable character. That's why even decades later, she's still one of Disney's most iconic villains. What do you think? Do you see Ursula as pure evil, or do you think she has a point? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this dive, hit subscribe, because next time we're tackling another Disney villain. Maybe Mother Gothel, maybe Dr. Facilier. Stay tuned.